Hey,
Okay.
it, it's a pleasure. Can you, let's see if you got that. Okay. You know what? It's a pleasure to be here tonight with Angel Holmes. Let me tell you something. Since we met in Hawaii, we had the opportunity I'll just add a little bit more to her little introduction. We had the opportunity to be with her and her husband, and we actually carpooled to a little excursion, and they were amazing. And I think that is what makes Zyia so amazing, is you meet these people that are just like unbelievable, and it gives you this conduit to meet people that you normally wouldn't meet. So we had this opportunity, and we were kind of nosy, and we learned everything about their lives and how they met. And, I mean, everything from she got in a bike accident into the hospital. We know it all. So I mean, but you know what? Which is really interesting subject matter, because there's a statement that says that you will become like the people you associate with. And that is so true. And I really want you to think about that. Hopefully tonight I can give you some insights, maybe some basic laws and natural laws that you've heard before. And you're like, oh yeah, I know that. But maybe it's a little refresher, but maybe some of it isn't. Maybe some of it is something that you haven't heard before. And I hope that I sparked that in you, that maybe you can learn something tonight. But that is so true. But I'll take it even a step further. That also says that there is a direct relationship between how much you earn and how much people around you earn in terms of your association. So they said you take your basic 5 people that you associate with, and basically what they earn, that is basically, not always, but in theory, that's what you earn in terms of your income. So that's a really interesting thought. We'll talk more about that a little later, but there's no question that I've realized that is actually the truth. So, all right. So what I'd like to share a little bit tonight is that, and I'm going to send Angel a kind of a summary of this whole thing. My comments are based on a 1956 kind of a motivational book. It was written by Earl Nightingale. Has anybody heard of that person? Anybody? I don't see any hands. No one's heard of that person. Well, okay, I just aged myself just slightly, but so Earl Nightingale, I can guarantee you the secret that I'm going to share with you tonight is not a new secret, but it is something that it applies even today, that it applied back in the 1950s. So it'll be really interesting, some of the things I'll talk to you about. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, that seems like that was written way back then. Yeah, well, all the new motivational speakers, they all steal that book from Earl Nightingale. It's really interesting. You'll say, hey, where did they get that? They got it from Earl Nightingale. I can tell you that right now. He was an amazing person. So I'm going to send Angel a link to this video that I'm referring to. And I think it's about, the one that I'm referring to is about a half hour. It is worth your time. I can tell you that I probably have listened to that video probably 100 times. And so that's how important this video is to me. So what I would tell you is, and then it's a huge contributor to my success. Now, Angel didn't mention anything about me, but let me give you a little bit of insight of who I am. Yes, I'm that plus one that hangs out with my wonderful wife, beautiful wife, Kristen, on these Zyia trips. But the reality is that I don't do anything for Zyia, really. I don't work for Zyia. I'm just kind of that plus one that hangs out and makes friends with all the amazing reps. But the reality is that I own several businesses. Currently, right now, I have a folding carton pharmaceutical packaging business. I have about 150 employees, and I'm running that business right now. So gives you an idea. I'm a CPA. I've got my master's degree at the University of Utah. So, definitely I've had some other things. But the most important thing, what I would tell you is that through tonight, if you really take what I share with you, I think it'll literally change your life. So that is a huge statement. And I hope I can definitely put my, words where I'm, my money where my mouth is, so to speak. I hope I can, one of you will say, yep, you changed my life. Okay, so let's start into it. So there was a survey done, and they surveyed 125-year-olds. And they kept the survey going on for 45 years, so 40 years. And they, at 65, they wanted to see where they were at. Now, of those 100 people, 1 was rich. 5 was what they call financially independent. Another 5 was still working, and 59 people of those 100 people, 65 were completely broke. So that is a staggering number. Why is that the case? That just blows me away, that statistic. And what they did is through this research, they determined what was the main factor behind that success. Why was there only 5% of those individuals that were part of this study? Why were those only 5% that what we would consider successful? Well, they determined what it was, and it was simply this. They simply didn't have, the 5% had goals, and the other 95% did not have goals. So, Angel, I gave you some slides. Do we have that first slide up? Okay, do we have it? Yes, we do. Okay, let's see if we can do the slide. So the first thing I want to teach is this. So, hey, does everybody have their audio on? No one's, they're just listening. There's no audio on?
Yes, I have audio.
Okay, I'll tell you what, would you mind reading that slide 1?
Oh, but yes. Success is the progress realization of a wealthy idea.
Okay, so that's an interesting definition of success. Success starts immediate, right? When you have an idea and then you start working on the idea. What Earl Nightingale says is success. That's when success starts. It's when you start progressing to that idea. Does that make sense? Okay, so if we define success that way, let's go to this slide 2 then. All right, so again, remember what I said, 5% of those individuals, the difference between those 5% and those other 95 was, the secret is that they had goals. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. It's that simple. So let me give you an example of that. And he kind of talks about this in the book, is that for someone that doesn't have goals, what it would be like is he says, it would be like a ship with at a harbor, and a ship, I don't know if you know much about ships, but when the captain and the crew gets on the ship and when they go to the next port, they plan it out. I mean, they plan it out almost every moment. They plan out the voyage. And 95% of the time, they never see the end goal, right? But they get there most of the time. I mean, they get there because why? Because they plan it out, right? It would be just the opposite. Think about if you had another ship and just like the first, but let's just say it didn't have a crew or it didn't have a captain at the helm. And all of a sudden you just turned the engines on and had no goals, no destination. And you just have the engine started. And I think we'd all agree that it would probably not even get out of the harbor. It would either sink or wind up in some strange place. So you can see the difference on those two things. One had a distinct goal, one had a destination, and the other had nothing, had no plan, right? Do you see how that is defined? Okay, so have you ever wondered how people, you see even in direct sales where you see people that are amazing leaders, right? What is it that they have over someone else that isn't? And they just seem like they have the Midas touch. Everything they come across, they're just successful. They are unbelievable. I have 20 sales reps, and it's amazing that some of them are amazing, and guess what? Others, not so much. And what do you think the difference is? Again, going back to that slide, it's goals. Is that some sales reps can tell me exactly where they're heading, what's their next sale is, what's happening, and the others is like, I don't know. Let's see what the conditions give me. I don't know if I can sell anything. I don't know what I'm, and they're not sure where they're heading, their direction. So that is so important to kind of establish that right up front. All right, slide number 3. I just want to make a little point. I actually wanted this to be a slide because it's so important to know this. So people with goals, people with a direction, they tend to be positive. They tend to stay focused, right? Well, slide 3 is on the other hand, people that are, I guess what you would say, complacent. I put failure on the other hand, failures on the other hand, believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances. So how many times have you ever heard that, right? Even your own family members, sometimes you can't do that. That there's no way that can happen. Or people around you. Or I've tried that. That never worked. It doesn't work for me. How many times have you heard that, right? A lot, right? It happens all the time. So Randy says, yeah, all the time. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It happens all the time. All right. So then let's go to the next slide. Okay, slide number 4. And this is super important. And I mentioned earlier about some basic laws, natural laws. There's some great philosophers. One of the things that I love to do is I love to read. I probably read, I read at least a book a week, but I probably read 3 to 4 books a month. And my wife, I drive her crazy because I've got a huge library of books. But so forgive me if I bring up a couple things, but one of the things I love, and hey, for those that are not not religious at all, forgive me if I bring up a couple quotes from the Bible, but I love the Bible. I love some of the things from the Bible. My thought is that the Bible really references a lot of great books reference the Bible as well. So I only bring that up is that I really truly believe that there's some great natural laws that come from the Bible. So I'll share you a couple things. So slide 4, the key lesson is that we become what we think about. Okay. All right. So what does that mean that we become what we think about? Well, remember I mentioned the Bible. So Mark 9:23. I love this verse. It says, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe. Okay. So if you really think about it, what you become what you believe. It is so true. Everything that where you're at today, even where you live, what your clothes you're wearing, what the people you associate with, maybe your partner, everything that is in your life is because of your decisions that you made. Now you have to really realize that is true. And so if that's the case, then in the future, your future really depends on what you believe. Now, let me give you an example of that. Now, I am a big opponent of the law of attraction. So I don't know if anybody has had any study on the law of attraction, but I really believe that. So I guess it also, I'm a big opponent that if I put my mind to something, then it'll happen. Okay. So remember when I said that you basically become who you associate with, or that the people you hang around with, you earn about the same money as that. Well, about 10 years ago, we drove into this massive neighborhood. And I mean, seriously, my neighbor that lives there, he started Fortnite. He makes 300 million a year. So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we go into this neighborhood and we see this huge property. And I said, I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to build a house on this property and I'm going to move into this neighborhood. Okay, well, at that point, my wife said, okay, you're nuts. Let's get back in the car. And I literally took her out of the car and we stood on the property. I said, yep, this is what we're going to do. And she literally thought I had lost it and let's go home. Okay, well, that was 10 years ago. So long story short is 5 years ago, I purchased that property. And, 3 years ago, I just finished my house on that property and it happened, right? So does that mean that everything that I think of happens? No, but I can tell you this is that what I will tell you is that I actually believe that and I made it happen. And so that is so important. I really, truly believe that is part of being successful is that you have to believe it. So just like the Savior said, he said, if thou canst believe, then all things are possible to him that believeth. I totally believe that. Okay, so throughout all history, there's different philosophers that have talked about this point. All right, so how does it work? Let's kind of dive into now that I told you that, there's an example of that I just gave. So how did it work? So let's go to slide 5. I don't know if you've got that up there, Angel, but slide 5. Let's go to slide 5. So let me read this slide 5. Every one of us is the sum total of our own thoughts. Does everybody believe that? We just kind of talked about that. Where you are, where you at. In Galatians 6:7, it says, as you sow, so shall you reap. Probably you've heard of that before. The reality is it's a true factor. Okay, so let me just hit another example of that. If you to think about if you did any gardening, right? And you went into your garden, and I've got a big garden, and I started planting corn. But right next to the corn, I planted a poisonous bush, right? Well, the ground will grow the corn, and guess what else it'll grow? The poisonous bush right by it. It doesn't, whatever I sow, I shall reap, right? So whatever I planted, that corn, it comes up as corn. And if I plant a poisonous tree, guess what it'll do? It'll grow that poisonous tree. It doesn't have that distinction. It'll just do what I've done. So your mind is like the same thing. So that's what's so important about your mind is whatever you put in your mind. If you're a sum total of all your thoughts, then the mind is just like the ground, but much more complex. That whatever you sow, you shall reap, and I totally believe that. So, but it's really interesting because the fact that is that so then why is it that people don't use their mind more? Well, I got to tell you, this is something that has been an issue that people have asked that question over and over again throughout the ages. Why is it that people don't use their mind more if that is the case? Well, it's because of the fact it's almost like a oxymoron. It's almost like a paradox, is that everything worthwhile in your life came free. Now, let me say that one more time, and then I'll explain to you what I'm saying. Everything in your life came free, okay? But you have to decide if you're going to take advantage of it or not. So your mind, your soul, your body, your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, your intelligence, your love for your family, your children, your love for your country. These are all priceless possessions. But guess what? You didn't pay for it. They all came free. That you were given that. All right. It's a really interesting thought. So my feeling is that so we tend to simplify that we don't really know the power of our minds. All right. So let's get to the to the basic I guess exercise then. I'm going to give you a promise, but I'm telling you this. I have done this over and over again, and I'm telling you this. It works, but you have to be willing to do it. So, are we all ready to try it? Are we all ready to really change our lives? What do you think? I don't see a lot of excitement here. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you something that's about ready to change your life. Okay. All right. Everybody's got a 3x5 card. Super important to have a 3x5 card. I know that sounds really elementary and really old school, but it's super important to have a 3x5 card. If you don't have a 3x5 card, that's okay. You've got to decide if this is something you want to do. But the reality is I promise you that we just talked about how amazing your mind is, and we just talked about how important goals are. So this is something that has worked over and over again. And this goes way back. So this is just not me. I'm telling you, I tried it and it worked. And then I tried it again and I tried it again and I tried it again and it kept on working. So this is what I'm going to share to you. And so when Angel said, yeah, I would really like to share something with my team, I said, oh, I have something to share for him. Okay. So let's dive into it. On that 3x5 card, there are things that people, there are, I guess what I would say, there are two things that people have in common. There's two things. There's something that they really want, and that there's something that they fear of. Okay. So what I would tell you is that, and I also believe in the Maslow's law of the hierarchy of laws. I don't know if anybody has ever read Maslow's laws. That it is hard to throw out that I want the $5 million house as the goal if maybe perhaps a relationship that you have or something else isn't really working, right? So what I would say is truly think about what really is something that is super important for you as a goal, as something that is important to you. It might not be the same for any of you, or it might be the same. The reality is that what I would encourage you to do is once you learn this exercise, you can use this in any aspect of your life. But I think what I would do is I would start with something so important to you that you're willing to sacrifice and you're willing to do it. So because it takes commitment. So on one side of the card, you would write down something that you want to accomplish, a goal that you want to accomplish. You say, I want to accomplish X, Y, Z. This is the goal that I have. Okay. It might be something that you share with your companion or with your best friend or with a teammate or someone in Zyia or any other thing, or it might be something very private you don't. But whatever it is, you would write that down on the card. Now, on the other side of the card, for me personally, I have a quote from the Sermon on the Mount that a carpenter that was from Galilee said, and it blew me away. And I wrote that on the other side of the card. And it was actually Matthew 8:13. It says, as thou believest, so be it done unto thee. But then it says, hang on, let me get to it. And then it says, so ask and you shall receive, knock and it shall be opened unto you. You probably have heard that statement. Okay, so that's on the other side of the card. So what I would say is now it's super important to have that card, and you need to after you do it, you commit for 30 days that you look at that card every day. You look at that card in the morning. You look at that card several times during the day. You look at that card at night before you go to bed. It takes a lot of commitment to do that. I can tell you, and it's like anything else. I remember when Star and I, we were doing a contest. We were doing a fitness contest, and we said no sugar for 60 days. She actually went a lot longer than I did, but about 2 weeks into it, I had a small little piece of chocolate. I'm like, it's no big deal. I mean, it's just a little thing. And guess what? I had to start all over, right? So it's the same principle. If you break that 30 days, you got to start all over again. So that's why it's so hard to keep that commitment. I can tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. There's times where I was unable to do it. And I went back and I tried it again for 30 days. But I can also tell you that there is things that I have written on that card. And I have done this several times, like I said, and I did it for 30 days. And I can tell you my mind and what I thought about, I actually accomplished what was on that card. No question. So that is the biggest secret. So Earl Nightingale, that was his big secret that he came back in the 1950s. This was one of his exercises. So that link I'm going to send to you, if you want to know a little bit more about that, I'll send you the link. So Angel can send it out. But the reality is that, all right, so any questions so far on the exercise? Any questions?
No.
The backside, you put what you're afraid of for your goal. Is that what you do?
So no, the one side is that what I was going to say is that it might be something that you fear, but it might be something you really desire. So, and those are two different things. I can tell you, I don't mind sharing you my personal one right now that I'm working with, but I put down that I want to have a better relationship with my kids. And so that's what I'm doing for 30 days. So for 30 days, I've been doing that. Well, it hasn't been 30 days. It's only been about a week. But I can tell you, I already see results. And it's because of the fact that I'm focusing on that. And I'm looking at that card every day. And also, I'm doing activities to say, okay, how do I accomplish that goal, right? But don't think that you have to have all the answers. Sometimes you have to let the answers come to you, or sometimes you let people around you help you with those answers, or maybe your teammates, or maybe your sponsor, or it could be a number of people. If it's something about work, and maybe your goal is, I want to be a senior director, or I want to be a Zyia exec, or whatever the case may be. Maybe that is your goal, right? Or maybe it's much more personal, like I just shared with you, okay? But the reality is that what I can tell you is that don't shut out any new ideas. Let your mind create, let you have imagination, and let it flow through, right? That's kind of what's part of the purpose of that card. You're looking at it, you're thinking about it, you're writing things down, and you're having those discussions, and so forth. All right. I truly believe that process worked. It has worked for me. I can tell you this: if it's money, hey, I have no problem with money. If that's what you're looking at, I can tell you, I wrote down on one of those cards, I wrote down a figure that was 7 figures. Okay. And I wrote down that card, and guess what? I wrote a check to myself, and I said, I'll cash that check on this date. Well, guess what? I was able to cash that check on that date. It had nothing to do with some miracle. What it had to do with is me hard work and being focused and having my mind focused on it. So I also believe in for me personally, I also believe in divine intervention, but that's another issue altogether. But whether it's the universe or someone else, but the thought is that I can tell you it works. So that's the process. So if you use that process, you can use it in your team. You can use it in your building. Maybe you have a goal to set for the end of the year. I want to be X, but start it for 30 days, and then see where you're at. But some people you're going to share it with, and they're going to be what? They're going to be that negative person that says, "Oh, you can't do that," right? And no offense, I love my wife, but she's like, there's no way we're buying that property. There's no way we're going to move there, right? But yet we live there today, right? And so I'm just telling you, don't let other people influence you for no. Say, that's great, but this is what I'm going to do. All right. Angel, I think my time's up a little bit. Let's summarize slide number 7. Okay, let's summarize it. You ready? You got slide number 7? Can't find it?
I did, but I don't see it on here. I'm so sorry.
Right, okay, slide 7. I'll summarize it. 1, have a goal. That's a big difference between people who are successful or not. Remember, 5% of those people had goals, others did not. 2, you become what you think about. Make sure that you only put good things into your mind if that's really the case, right? You can't do it by putting garbage in your mind. 3, believe and succeed. You have to believe it. 4, stay positive. We didn't even touch on the idea of what negativity can do to you. Stay positive. Don't be afraid to tell people what you're doing. Don't be afraid to reach out to people you know, or people that just you come in contact and say, hey, let me tell you a little bit about my business. Let me tell you why I'm so excited and successful. All right. Number 5, don't fear rejection. Huge difference in any type of sales or anything that you come across. 6, didn't touch on this one, but super important. Once you become successful and you start making a little money, that save 10% of your money for charity and other, pay it forward type of goals. 7, walk the extra mile, I put. And what that means is, remember, when I write these things down on these cards, that doesn't mean that I just go to sleep and say, oh, well, it'll happen. No, I work double hard on those goals. That's why I'm looking at it every day. And then 8, accept the opportunities. So when those opportunities come to you during those 30 days, you're going to have opportunities, accept them and take them and say, yeah, this is part of my goal. All right. So that's the kind of the summary. So that's all I really had for you today. I hope everybody gets a chance to try the 3x5 card and really take it to heart. I can tell you just from example, I know it sounds simple, but when I'm telling you this right now, it works. But remember, you can't do it for 4 days and say, it's just not working. You have to do it for the 30 days. You have to spend that much time. You have to really get your mind to believe it. And then remember what success is. I love his definition more than anything. I love it. He says success is the progressive realization of a worthy idea. In other words, if you actually wrote something down on a card tonight, maybe you're not ready to do that, but if you did, you are already successful. Why? Because that's part of a progression, right? To realization of your idea. So you're already showing that you're going to be successful. So I really, truly believe that. And so, Angel, that's what I have for you tonight.
Amazing. Brian, by the way, came and wanted to hear you talk.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Great.
Good to see you.
So good, Steve. My gosh, I'm like so excited, and you speak my love language. I love all the books, all the things, God, all the things. So thank you so much. I'm so sorry
Awesome.
that
it's a pleasure to meet everyone. Definitely, Angel, if anybody has any thoughts or questions, whatever, don't hesitate to give my information out. Love to share whatever I can.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so
Everyone,
much.
have a wonderful evening. Thanks for your time. I know that your time is valuable, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Same with you. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Well, now we have our part 2. How amazing. That was so good. Shaun and it was so cute. I texted Shaun and said, we're running a little bit late. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't, I'm learning. So Steve, you are the next speaker is super impressed. So Shaun Merritt is with Verb, who is our app developer for Zyia. And I think it was Mexico or Hawaii. One of the reps on Zyia one of the people on the trip, Sarah Bodum, right? Is that her last name? I would say it anyway. She was like, oh my gosh, we just had this guy who was from the Verb and he was amazing. You got to get him. So I contacted Shaun and he graciously said, yes. And I don't know how many of y'all are using the app. I have been back and forth with the app. So I don't think you need to go into like every single like basic kind of thing, but like, I just want us to be using it and really using it to its full extent. So anything you can kind of share and quickly highlight would be amazing, but I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure, you got it. And thank you guys so much for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be with you. Aloha, talofa, aroha. I don't know if any of you speak other Polynesian languages, but that is very cool. Yeah, that may have been why maybe the Hawaii connection with Sarah passing over the aloha. Anyway, yeah, like I said, it's good to be with you, and it's awesome to have been sort of pre-coursed by this delicious dish of good mentality. I think, you know, that subject of being in the right place mentally is so important, especially in today's world. And one thing I'll share just on that, because it reminded me, my aunt would always tell me, and she'd be like, hey, Shaun, saying no to a product is easy, but saying no to a positive experience is nearly impossible. And that's kind of always stuck with me, right? Like, we always want the people that we work with to experience, you know, these positive emotions, the good feelings that come from either an organization well run, a product that fits and feels amazing, or maybe it's the way that we look in our clothes and the way that we visualize ourselves. I always think of, you know, Zyia is fantastic in the way that it does its products, because it reminds me that everybody, just like Nike, Nike has such an amazing marketing brand where it basically states that everybody is an athlete. Right. And when we think about ourselves in the mirror, you know, future 10 years from now, we probably think of ourselves like, oh yeah, I'm like this ripped, amazingly in shape athlete. I think that's amazing what Zyia does. I think for me, it makes me look good, feel good. And I don't know, I can't say enough good things about Zyia and the product itself. So anyway, fantastic. I'm going to drop some things that I think are going to be pretty valuable for you. Raise your hand really quick if you are using Facebook Lives or just Facebook in general to help you with your business. You know, just pop your hand up. Okay, that's good. That helps me kind of understand my audience there a little bit too. So I think what I'm going to do is just pivot a little bit and orient the message tonight for you guys just in building your business in tangent. We're using the app, but also to help your Facebook lives, some of your Facebook stories. Maybe it's Instagram that you guys are using, the gram, you know, do it for the gram, as they say. So if you wouldn't mind, the one thing that I did, I joined, my other face is a part of the group. If you wouldn't mind helping me be able to share. And then what I'll do is share from my phone so that I can go in and perfect. Thank you so much, Angel. Appreciate that. I'm going to show you guys how to use the app to best help those efforts, especially as you're using the app for some of those more, you know, Facebook-y things. So launching the app, you can see I'm in the new releases section of the app itself. Now, the whole point about the app is just to have this library, this smorgasbord, this wonderful banquet of different assets that we can use tastefully and, you know, I think uniquely to fit specific people that we're working with. I want you guys to think of your customer journey, your buyer's journey, excuse me, different marketing principle. I want you to think of your buyer's journey, and I want you to think of how many steps it took you to purchase a product from Zyia. Maybe it's a new release, maybe it's a new sweater, maybe it's a new, you know, whatever it is. Think about what it took to get you to buy. And then you'll be empathetic enough to understand some of your customers in the journey that they take to purchase from you and to convert using some of the steps that you have. Now, again, you guys raised your hands and said a lot of you are using Facebook. Wonderful place to be able to use that. You can take what Zyia has given us and dropped us in this app and use those simply by, let's say, my friend Michael Elisa, right here. He's sporting this men's gray stripe reason. In fact, he's in a lot of these. I don't know. He may have a little bit of an ego, but I guess it serves him right because he's such a handsome guy. Anyway, I'm going to download his picture here, and I'm going to use this to orient maybe my messaging a little bit more for the men's product line. You can see I've also favorited the men's enrollment kit simply by hearting that right in the middle there. That is something that I want to use. And so I've got that. Now I have gone ahead and I've downloaded a few other things that I'm thinking that's what I want. I've saved to my photos. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to switch over to my Facebook page really quick, and I'm going to go to a story. I'm going to start crafting and creating a story. Now you can do this from within the app as well. You do lose some of the functionality though, because unfortunately the music API does not connect with the app, which is so sad because I really love the music that you can attach from anywhere. The world is our oyster. We can craft these messages and make them really specific. Now, as you're going through, you guys probably do a lot of these shares. You probably share on Facebook Lives. One of the first things I'm going to recommend to you is to lead with you. And what I mean by that is I want you to think about building your business socially by investing in and getting rid of the old terminology of never mix business with pleasure, because people want to know about you, right? Annette, you have this beautiful dog sitting on you. I want to know more about the dog. I think I saw another dog earlier. Robin had her dog messing around with her. It was kind of fun to see. People want to know about those things because that is unique. That is you on a platter. And what you want to do is start with you. So I'm actually going to go, I took my family up the other night to Tibble Fork. I don't know if you've been up to American Fork Canyon or visited us here in Utah. But if you do, you guys know a little bit about some of the fantastic scenery that we have out here. So I'm going to lead with me, right? Best foot forward first. I'm going to post probably a picture of me. I'm going to stick, music in here. How many of you know Golden Hour? Kind of fun, social media inspiration. Okay, that's gonna blow out your eardrums. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna save you guys from the wow, that was a lot right there. I know, I'm sorry. I really hope you didn't have your volume. I apologize ahead of time if that was up and you just got blown away. Anyway, kind of the fun thing about that song. I'm gonna go back in. One of the best things about stories working on Facebook really quickly is that I have the potential to then add a story to it. Okay, I've led with that. I'm probably going to stick to this fall theme, maybe a little bit, and go in and just post. And maybe I'm going to create a poll. Again, so many fun things that you can do. And I know I'm supposed to be representing the Zyia Connect app. I will tie this in. I promise you. I swear. So I'm going to put something like. Beautiful. Are you ready for fall? Yes or no, right? Perfect. I've got that. I'm going to share that to my story. The next thing that I'm going to add after that one, I'm going to post a picture of speaking of fall. And it's going to probably host some of these pictures. Maybe I'll do it kind of whimsically because, again, my buddy Mike Elisa, he's pretty entertaining. I'm going to bring in maybe just a few different pictures. You can see I'm hitting stickers. I'm bringing in a few more of these posts. And I'm just going to focus maybe on some of the swimwear and just see what happens. And then I'm going to put, speaking of fall, making this a little bit more whimsical. Now, I have the opportunity to bring in, I can do GIFs. I could do other musical pieces to this. But now I'm switching. I'm transitioning over to a little bit more about what I will call favorite things. And I want you guys to think of that way. When we're marketing our products, we lead with ourselves and we turn to the things that we love most, or the things that we just think of the value, the appreciation that comes off of that as well, right? It's not just a product I'm hawking and saying, hey, you should buy this. this is something that I've led with me, and now something that I truly love and enjoy, and I'm sharing it with my friends and family, right? It comes off so much differently when we're having that discussion and framing things in that light. Speaking of fall, check this out. And we're going to get ready. We're going to go swimming. And this is like the perfect picture too, because Mike decided to go for a swim while it was snowing, right in the background there. So I'm going to post that, and you can see where I'm going with this. I am using all of the items that I have now downloaded from the app into my phone, where I can just continue to make the smorgasbord of awesome assets. And by the way, I did sneak in to the filming studio. I did get put into an asset so that is actually the oversized black tee. If anybody likes that and would like to purchase that. Anyway, I could use this and say, check this out, So thank you. Nice. Yes, thank you. There's a lot that I could do here, but a lot of this is going to stem from the material that I receive from the app. Now, the app, this is really built out for you guys to use and share for all of your prospecting needs, right? We can house our contacts in here. And by the way, we do not store the information. This is more of a replication that we receive. So if any of you do care about that, we're not storing information from friends, family, that kind of stuff. But we are syncing our device contacts, and we're bringing that information here virtually into the app, where we can then contact and reach out to people. Once we've added those, you can see I click the sync device contacts, makes it really easy for me just to sync, right? Bring in whoever I want. From here, I can qualify my leads, right? Which is a good activity to do anyway, right? We've got these lists of people. You guys have probably gone and worked the business before, where you're writing down names of people. Hey, I'm going to reach out to Lindsay, Angel. I'm going to reach out to Amy afterwards. I've got all these people written down. We can save that time simply by bringing people in, duplicate the time, and again, save you time, save you some energy, get those people in, and then I'm going to swipe. You can see I can swipe right, I can swipe left, hot and cold. I'm basically creating my hot and cold list. Those can mean anything and everything that you'd like them to mean, right? Maybe hot is I'm going to call these people right away, and cold might be I'm going to wait till next month to reach out to these people. Could be anything that you'd like, but then you have your hot and cold list made up for you really quickly and really easily. Now I can go into my people, and I can see kind of some of the things that I've done already just by looking at the feed. This is my personalized feed list, which shows me, okay, earlier today, I sent Shaun a video. He watched about 85% of this. This is fantastic. This is exactly the kind of activity I want to see. I want to follow up with these people at the right time, at the right place, right? If I go to my global feed, I can actually see this as well. And one of the handiest things that I have here is to scroll to the right. You'll see that little dot pops up on the left-hand side. This is intentional. It creates a reminder in the feed section where I can then see my to-do list. Hey, let's say I just got my daughter down for a nap. It's wonderful. I just ended up cleaning the kitchen. I now have time to reach out to the people that I need to contact. As I go through this list and follow up with some of the to-dos, I can simply swipe these away. I'm set, I'm ready. I've been able to reach out to my people. And by the way, at the top right-hand side, if I'm one of those types of people that need just like a power hour, you can see that's exactly what I've created for myself. 3 p.m. every Thursday, I've got a rotating notice for me. That could be anything. Again, we wanted this functionality to be something that benefits you, not just inside of Zyia, but maybe in life in general. Maybe you're a procrastinator like me. And I had, again, something that I just need help with sometimes is just reminders, right? So I'm going to set this for myself. Power hour is going to be my hour where I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to save that. And this gives me an in-app notification and also shows up on my lock screen phone that tells me, this is your time. Go for it. Shine, right? It's your golden hour. Sorry, I've got that song in my head, like on spin. Anyway, positive thinking. Maybe it's a positive thinking. I want to start Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3:30 p.m. I'm going to remember to think about the fact that the sum of all of me are the thoughts that I embody, right? Or whatever it is. use those tools to help you build the business from the palm of your hand, right? Like we say that like it's candy and like it really is a powerful tool for you to use. Now, one of the other things that I will suggest to you as well and recommend, use the learn section. Right in the middle, the learn section, we always talk about, business builders, we want to duplicate our efforts. We want to save us time. We want to be able to get in, get out, get the things that I need exactly. I know a lot of people who have that because I have that too. I am a serial entrepreneur and the only thing I want is just, this is it. These are the things I want. This is where you'll get that. You'll get that duplicated effort, especially when you're bringing new team members on board who are just like, where do I start? I don't know anything about Zyia. I know I love the clothes, which I know a lot of people, they come to Zyia because, man, this feels great. These clothes are amazing. But then when we want to go and build the business, we can turn to learn, get your people into the app. Look at that, Rep 101. We've got 17 different lessons where we can start from growing our business to extending our warm market, starting the business fast and effectively, become confident in selling. We can even learn a little bit more about the products, learning about how to do parties. How do I work social media? What is the mindset that I need to have? Zyia's really set us up for a lot of this. Enrolling, for example, how do I build that structure? Easy onboarding access and just a good tool to turn to when we're trying to duplicate ourselves and just copy yourself. It's just like a version of you sitting with them and being like, okay, this is what you need to do. This is master the products, operational success. These are some of the tools that we use. So make sure that you're using some of those. Outside of that, guys, I could use some other examples. Facebook and Instagram are wonderful in that they're pretty interchangeable. If you're familiar with knowing how to post on Facebook or doing lives on Facebook, it's easy to do that on Instagram as well. So don't be afraid of that process. In fact, I would recommend to you what I call the 311, 311, which was one of my favorite bands back in the day. I post and attempt, right? Attempt to post 3 social posts just by yourself, right? You can do that. Black metallic light and tights, by the way, they are leading the way. These guys are like the number one thing. So one of the things that I can do from here, I can actually post. I'm going to click social. You can see it's going to check the social media platforms that I have connected. I can use the example message really quickly and easily for me, or if there is, because this is one of my favorite items, it's just going to put you. And so maybe the post is something really quick, like click on the link in the comment below. Okay, it's got to be a little bit unique. I like to add emojis because I'm like that. I'm going to hit copy. Perfect. And then I'm going to hit Facebook. And you can see I can put that in as a feed, story, groups. I'm just going to do feed. You can see it goes really easily. And then I'm going to paste. That's it. I'm just going to post this only for me just because right now we're doing an example, but easy peasy, beautiful. I'm basically done. It's shared to Facebook. Now, one of the last things it's going to do, it's going to kick me here. It's going to copy the link that I had so that I can then go back to Facebook. And as soon as I'm able to see, let's say I'm going to go out of this, see my post, I can then go on, comment, and paste the link in the first comment below. Now, some best practice for you, just so you guys know, it is always better to put a link to anything that you're routing people to go to externally outside of Facebook in the first comment. And that is because Facebook and other social media platforms do not like it when you try to attract people's attention outside of their platform. So don't do it within the actual post. Don't put the links there. Put the links in the comments. And that'll help you preserve this. And so that way your image or your post won't be suppressed, okay? Just a few basic social media etiquette items that I would share with you. And then the other, of course, make your messaging absolutely and completely unique to you. There's nothing worse than white noise repeating itself over and over and over, especially if you have more than one Zyia friend and they all post the same thing at the same time. It's not good. So anyway, be unique, be genuine, be you. Guys, that is all the time I have tonight. I hope that this becomes just something that is worthwhile for you to dive into. That's our purpose. We want to create tools that you guys use that help you with your business building efforts, that help you to duplicate yourself and your efforts in just building that business. Use it, again, content, take it all down. You can download all the content, use it for those Facebook or Instagram stories. And from there, really just take off. Use the learn section as you get new team members who want to join you in the business. Route them here first and help them learn. They can get through, and you can see, I mean, you're going to know really quickly how fast they're getting it all figured out. So,
Shaun, real quick, can I ask you,
sure.
when y'all do training every month, right?
Yep.
So that's something to definitely, if you've never used it, if you're like, what do I do? Definitely do one of their trainings. You can watch past trainings on the app, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
I did one earlier today that I've got to get sent over to Zyia so that they can get that into the app.
Awesome. And then the other thing I always forget about is when you share a link, a shopping link from the app to a customer in your text, you can actually see if they've opened it, if they've gone back to the website. Like, you can track if they've looked at it. You can't do that if you're sending it directly from the website. So that's one thing that I need to get better at. And like he's showing you here, is when you send a link to somebody, go to your app, find that shopping link and send it to them via there. That way, you know, if they've opened it, if they've gone to the website, if they've gone 15 times or whatever. That's a big one that I always forget to do.
That is definitely a golden, I would say, golden piece of information. If you do have other questions, let's say there's something that's not working right, maybe it looks like a bug, feels like a bug, send it over to support@verb.tech. They'll be able to help you. Just change that up and add my name if you'd like to reach out to me, Shaun@verb.tech. Happy to help you guys with anything else that you might need. One other thing, I did see a question there on just changing up marketplaces really quickly. You can do that under more. I know I did that really quickly, more, and then my profile. Once you click on more in my profile, you can go into market and language, and we can change this up a little bit. So, for example, I was in the Canadian site earlier where there are absolutely specific products that are listed for Canada people only. One of which was like a new blazer blue hoodie that I thought was pretty sweet in the men's products. Anyway, trying to figure out how to get my hands on that. But that's definitely different ways that you can switch that up just so that you can see some of the different content in there. Marketed language, go in and change the content or the market, excuse me. And then you can change that back and forth to see what's in US, what's in Canada. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that we didn't get to have as much time with you as we wanted, but this has been amazing. I cannot wait for everybody to go in there and really start using it. And does anybody else have any quick questions? I know he's probably going to go. I've got a few announcements too I want to share real fast before we wrap up. Shaun, can you get out of your screen share thing?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. It's been amazing. And again, like he said, definitely email him any questions. I'm going to go back and watch some of the past trainings. I've done that before, and it's really, really helpful. So thank you for being a part of our call. And really quick, just a couple of quick announcements. I did mention we had the Zyia exec and above call today, which was really great. And some things you'll want to know. The incentive trip for next year, they are going to go back to the original mix-up of how they receive it. So it will not just be all parties, which I personally am glad. They actually said they had double the amount of people earn the trip, but they made half as much in revenue last year from the incentive trip. I think what happened to a lot of people just had parties, and because you saw that people were earning the trip day one of the trip and being announced. So they're stopping that where it's going to be a mix. They did not say what the mix was going to be, but they did say it would be a mix of parties, and probably going back to 2 years ago if you were here. So it would be point system based on parties, reps you add to your team, and if you hit the 3x4. I would imagine those are the three big things, but they did not specify. They also did say that trips are getting to be really, really expensive and harder to find all-inclusive resorts. So they're looking at a couple of options. One is to go back to previous places they've gone to, which I was like, no, let's go somewhere new. Or they are going to go somewhere that's not all-inclusive. Sarah, you'll be happy to hear that. All-inclusive, and you would get a stipend to use for food. And the other one they were thinking about was possibly somewhere in the US. That would be really cool. So that is just things up in the air. They didn't have an announcement yet, but they did say they would be announcing the trip they would be announcing more of that soon. November through, I think, early next year, they're going to bring back those bonus hostess rewards. They really, really, really want to help us with Christmas sales. And so they said that what they're going to do is give us the opportunity, because they want us to host events and all that stuff, for the hostesses to basically book a party and get so much cool stuff that they can buy all their Christmas presents with that. So to really promote that. So I was pumped about that. So if you remember, we got a bunch of cool stuff last year. That's coming back, and I think that's going to start in November. And then the last announcement was that base camp is probably not going to be virtual this year. They're going to do instead several mini events throughout the US, Canada, and Australia, so that you would be able to have an opportunity. They just thought the in-person, being there, being amongst people, as you know, if you went, is so powerful, that they're going to come up with. So basically, Zyia executive above can, if you are in a range or capacity, you can you plan your own event essentially, and they will help you do that. It will be open to anybody. It's not something you just do for your team. I would imagine, like for me in South Carolina, they're probably going to do like in a place like Charlotte or Atlanta, they have to have 200 plus people to go. So us in South Carolina, just in Charleston, it'd probably be a required little road trip, but that might be something fun we do. So anyway, they haven't, I think they've still got a long way to go, but just know that it's not going to be something you can watch online. And I would imagine Summit next year probably will start to do that too. They're going to go back to all in person, just because that's how it was before. And it's good to offer to other people, but I'm not sure if they're going to continue to do that now that COVID's kind of not a thing. But those were the biggest things there. Just a couple of really quick things for you guys real fast is Sarah Anderson. I don't know if y'all saw that. She is doing an incentive trip, and anyone on our team can earn it. Have y'all seen that yet?
Yeah.
She has done some posting on it. I will share a video. She shared a video about it. Basically, you earn points, and you can, one is if you advance, one is if you do certain things. Anyway, they're going to do a trip. They were going to do it around base camp. So I am interested to see if we'll change that, but to Destin, Florida, you would earn the stay. You can earn the stay, and then you just pay for your travel. They'll have some meals, but definitely, you guys, I would love for a group of us to go. I'm going to try to go for it. I just haven't had time to even look at the requirements, but I will share it. I'm sorry, I haven't shared it yet, but it should be on Team Papaya's site. She just launched it like this week, I think. So that was really exciting. And then, was there anything else I wanted to mention? I am offering a time management free class, y'all, on October 25th. I haven't promoted it on their team page. I will. It's at noon. I would, if you struggle with time, just organization, I'm going to share a lot of cool systems with you guys, with anybody who comes to it. And if you can't be on that actual training, just sign up and you'll get a copy of the actual training after it's over. So that's just something I'm doing. I'd love for you to be a part of it. I am excited about the Rise Up program starting. So anybody who has got their team members a part of that, or who is a part of that, congratulations. I want to congratulate Sarah Donahue, who's getting married this weekend. We have just a couple more weeks of 1, 2, 3 magic. You can still earn a bonus, guys. Every single one of you can earn a bonus, $200 if you haven't earned, if you got 1 by 1,000, or what is it, 750 if you get 3 by $2,500. So don't give up and go for those things. I know several of you have already sold over $1,000 this month. Amazing. Just one person to your team would get you that bonus, which I'd love, love, love for as many of us to get that. I know a few of us are going for 3 months in a row to get the bigger bonus. I am going to be doing some stuff towards the end of the year for planning, for goal setting for next year. And then last thing I wanted to mention was next month's speaker, who I'll give her the entire time. I'm sorry, Steve was an add-on. I'm really glad he came though, is going to be the girl who spoke at Summit who mentioned this. I sell $7,000 to $8,000 a month on Instagram and don't have parties. We all were like, what? What are you doing? So I reached out to Bethany and she is going to be our speaker, and I'm going to make sure she shares every single thing she does. She does have 28,000 followers on Instagram already. I'm sure that helps. But the fact that she does no party, like she says she might do like one party a month. That is amazing. And speaking of parties, Zyia is focusing on creative ways to do parties. They do know that parties are their best way to make revenue and all the things. So they are getting creative. I would imagine they're going to incorporate it into the website, which I know I didn't even mention that we're doing our testing of right now. I know, Sarah, you were on there. Who else has done testing for the site? Anybody else done any testing? You guys?
I think it was supposed to be only senior directors and above, but they released it by accident.
Oh,
and
they
then
did? Okay.
And then and then they took it back.
Yeah. Well, they'll start getting it to more and more of you guys to test out, which is really cool. Sarah, did you like it?
Well, I was only on it for like 10 minutes, and then they realized they sent it out to every rep instead of just senior and up. So then they canceled it for everybody because it got so overwhelmed, and now they're going to set up a new schedule. So from what, I mean, when I was on, yeah, I mean, it's way better than what we have, how you can filter and stuff. I still wish you could go to Bomber Bra and just click a little thing that was dropped down with every color instead of having to go to, it's so weird.
You should get a survey, y'all, please. Anything like that, please tell them in the survey. I still, when I went on it today, whatever, there were still some things on there that are wrong, that were just wrong. But I'm like, I keep on flooding them with my other ideas. I'm like, just do this. But I think it is better. And I love what Sarah did. Sarah actually went live on her Facebook page and showed her customers. I think as we get to test this, do that to show them this is going to be better. I love that you can search by colors and sizes and prices, and all the searching capability, I think, will be so much better. But yeah, they still have a ways to go for sure. So that's exciting. They're working on party format stuff. I know that's going to be a big, big thing they help us with. And I think that's all I had. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I'm going to share something real quick. I would just, on that same line of giving feedback, even if you've created a ticket and give a feedback, because I gave feedback on like how they do the product, women's products, and like within 2 weeks, they made changes to the comments that I made. So they do listen.
They really do. And I mean, in our call today, Zach was like, send me ideas for that. They want to continuously get better and help us out as much as possible. So I really love that they do that. And I'm so glad they listen to us, because we matter. But I love seeing you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the great turnout. I hope you got inspired. I've got like all these notes. I'm going to use the app. Like I feel so silly for not using it as much as I should. And you guys have a great night. Thanks for being on here so long.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.